welcome to Croft Circuit for round 2 of the BRSCC Toyo Tyres Porsche Championship. It's wet, it's windy, it's got all the makings of a great meeting. Well, for our pole sitter Richard Styron, this is the first time out in 2014. Richard, I thought you weren't doing this anymore. Why have you made this comeback?
TF Motorsport have very naughtily teased me back into racing. I was enjoying cycling, time away with the family. All of a sudden I'm sat back on the grid. Joking apart, they've been very kind and done a special deal with it being the local track.
Well, you've clearly still got it. Here you are, very front of the grid for the first race.
Yeah, there's some new super drivers. Ed Hayes, who's on grid 2's doing fabulous. There's a couple of others. Steve Warburton's back, Jonathan Greensmith's doing fabulous, so I've got my work cut out.
All right, well, the best of luck. Cheers. Well, our Class C newcomer who had a really good first race out at Silverstone, Niz Al-Chamar. Niz, here you are, very back of the grid. What happened? You had such a promising start last time.
Unfortunately, yeah, we had some problems with the car. It was overheating, so when that happens, you've got to quickly just stop and go back and then see what the problem is. So, but luckily, so that's why I couldn't finish qualifying. Luckily, they very kindly allowed me to do like a flying lap just to prove that I have the pace. So, but obviously, I'm now back of the grid. So.
And do you think the car's fixed? I mean, are you going to make it all the way to the end?
Yeah, I mean, I got to thank Fudge, part of my team from Victoria Garage. He's done an amazing job. So he's fixed the problem. So fingers crossed. We got to be able to finish the race, and it's always fun anyway from back of grid. So I'm looking forward to it.
Now, you are still really a newcomer to this championship. This will be your third race. Have you figured out how to overtake everyone yet? I guess you're going to need to know how.
Well, I think, yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of racing instinct, really, kind of trying to outbrake them and trying to pick the right spots where you can and can't overtake. And that's the fun part of it, is trying to work out how to get past the person in front of you.
Yeah. All right, well, the best of luck.
Thanks
Cheers.
very much.
Well, completing the front row in another race spec Boxster, Ed Hayes. How was qualifying for you, Ed? Pretty good, I guess.
It was good, thanks. Yeah, it was wet all the way through, obviously, but got one quick lap in, and happy with that.
Now we've got glorious sunshine at the moment, but I guess today there's got to be the chance of another heavy shower, isn't there?
Absolutely, but we've gone for a dry setup, and we'll just see what happens.
Fair enough. And your strategy, I mean, you're on the outside going into the first corner. How does that affect your planning for the race?
Well, we've not raced with this chap before. He's won the championship last couple of years. He's come back and he's going like stink, so if I can hang on, I'll be happy.
All right, well, the best of luck. Cheers. Okay, so Simon, Class C pole, pretty well done. How did you find qualifying?
It was quite entertaining. We couldn't really see much with all the rain and the spray, so it was pretty tricky, but fortunately I managed to keep it on the track, so it was good fun in the end.
Now, how are these 924s in the wet? I guess we can't rule out another shower in the next bit.
Oh, absolutely. As long as they're set up well, then they're fantastic in the wet, so a real good laugh.
And I guess it is the great equaliser. Of course, you had a pretty good season last year as well, though.
Yeah, I managed to get second overall in the season, which I was really pleased with.
Yeah. Okay, well, the very best of luck. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Here's the grid. Richard Styron on pole with Ed Hayes. Then it's Nick Hull and Richard Avery. Row 3, championship leader Jonathan Greensmith with Adam Croft. Then Gary Lawrence and Steve Brown. Gary Goodwin 9th and Graham Hurd, the former champion, in 10th. In the productions, pole position to Steve Warburton, Jason Flegg, the championship leader alongside, and then newcomer Philip Grayson. In the 924, Simon Hawksley with Phil Waters alongside. Then it's Carl Rossin and Alistair Kirkham, Peter Smith and David Jones on row 3, John Broadley and Hugh Peart next. Then it's Andrew Hannington and Tony McVinsky, Nizar El-Chamar, as you heard, at the back of the field. Well, Croft, a superb place to come and race these cars, and a very exciting run down to Clervaux. The first corner awaits these cars. The black and white with green trim car, the returning defending champion. Richard Styron gets away well. Look at Nick Hull in the Union Jack livery car. Superb start from Nick Hull. Jonathan Greensmith in yellow gets away well too. Here's our camera for turn 1. This is where it can often go pear-shaped, but it's all okay. It's got pear-shaped for Greensmith, who's off in the gravel. Steve Brown's up his inside. The productions are getting involved as well. And who's leading? It's Richard Styron from Nick Hull. Nick Hull in second, Ed Hayes third. There's Steve Brown up ahead of Jonathan Greensmith. Greensmith leading the championship by 4 points from Ed Hayes as they come to this race. Here's our view from Tower. Richard Styron proving that he's not race rusty. Number 1 proudly emblazoned on the car, and he leads from Nick Hull. Ed Hayes is next. Then it's Richard Avery, the green car, followed by his teammate Gary Lawrence in the Don & Vorton Country Properties backed car, running well. Lawrence third in the championship. Coming into the round, Graham Hurd and Richard Avery joint fourth. Well, Croft, a wonderful circuit for these. The production championship led by Jason Flegg. Simon Hawksley leading the 924s from Carl Rossin. Jonathan Greensmith about to put a move. Steve Brown, his first meeting of the year, is past. So the championship leader, Jonathan Greensmith, goes through. Nick Hull down to third now. Ed Hayes, the ex-Caterham racer, got up to second. And what is he going to learn from seeing Richard Styron here? This is going to be a really good opportunity for him. Hayes, of course, fiercely competitive and successful driver in his own right. As we go on board with Gary Lawrence, chasing his teammate down the straight, heading into Clervaux. Turns in now, great spectator point here. You can see Nick Hull up front, currently in third position. Gary Lawrence turning. Lawrence there, the onboard with the blue car with the red and white stripes. That's our onboard, and he's coming under pressure from Jonathan Greensmith. We couldn't see that as we were looking forward, quite rightly. Gary focusing on his teammate. Richard Styron focusing on trying to get away from Ed Hayes. Through goes Hayes. Then Nick Hull in third place. And Jonathan Greensmith, having qualified down behind Richard Avery, so probably not particularly happy with his performance thus far at this meeting, but very clearly giving notice of intent. Splash on the windows, look at that, some water on the outside of the track causing problems, all very coolly dealt with by Gary Lawrence, who flicks the wipers on. He's still under that pressure from Jonathan Greensmith in yellow. Greensmith chasing, so Avery's got a bit of breathing space at the moment. We'll see what Jonathan can do here. Shaping up to stick his nose down the inside, which they're coming into the complex. He couldn't quite do it, converts to the outside for the next corner, as you can see. So Gary Lawrence, great defensive driving into the slowest corner of the circuit, the hairpin. Meanwhile, Richard Avery, you see Nick Hull got a wheel on the dirt. That compromises his exit speed. Gary Lawrence is going to go through as well, so Nick Hull just a moment off on the grass there. There's the slightest problem. And that scrubs off so much speed as they come onto the main straight. Now, did Jonathan Greensmith get past as well? We'll have to see. Cars out of Clervaux coming through the chicane and onto the back straight. Yeah, Greensmith got through as well, so Nick Hull was really punished for that. Just a tiny error. It was a great start from Hull, though, and he'll take some real confidence from that. He's got Steve Brown all over the back of him now. Lap 7, Richard Avery is still there ahead of his teammate Jonathan Greensmith, and Steve Brown there as well chasing. Fastest lap of the race being set by the race leader Richard Styron. Into Sunny goes the car running in third place. It's Richard Styron and Ed Hayes away, but Richard Avery in third position. He took two fourth places at Silverstone in the opening round of the year. His teammate Gary Lawrence taking a podium in race 1, and he's edging up towards that as well, but he's got big pressure on him from the Hillsborough-based driver Jonathan Greensmith, who's really putting the pressure on. Looks up the inside into the hairpin, nothing doing there. Greensmith's got to be mindful from the pressure from Banbury racer Steve Brown. 124 Rookie of the Year in 2007, runner-up in 2010, champion in 2011, and he of course has made the move into the full race Boxsters superbly. And these four cars having a wonderful scrap over this third place. This is exactly what Boxster racing is all about. So Richard Avery still holding sway over his teammate. Greensmith now, I think, has dealt for the moment with the pressure from Steve Brown. Brown wasn't at Silverstone. Good to see him here at Croft. Now look at this, we've got a move on from Gary Lawrence, who's having a look at the inside line. This will be the outside up into Tower, and you don't see too many drivers pull this off, but he's trying to do it. It turns in, he's got a little bit wide. Now, has this opened up the door? Yes, it has. And through on the inside goes Jonathan Greensmith and also Steve Brown. But I've got to say, you've got to have a go for it. And that is exactly what Gary Lawrence was doing. He was gunning for it, but it didn't pay off. Back with the 924s. There's Nizar working his way through the field. Oh, takes a spin in front of Rick Styrin. Styrin goes through safely. Nizar on newcomer to racing, as you can see from the insignia. Ed Hayes goes through. Then Carl Rossin. Andrew Hannington back with us as well. Wonderful to see. He goes through. Richard Avery, Jonathan Greensmith, Steve Brown there as well. Gary Lawrence still in touch too at the back of this quartet, still squabbling over third place, but Richard Avery holds third at the moment. Down across the line again, Jonathan Greensmith. He's picking them off one by one. Is he going to be able to edge up towards the podium? Ed Hayes away in the distance, so through past some more back marker traffic. 19.4s, of course, all enjoying their race at the moment. Simon Hawksley from Alistair Kirkham leading those, but Richard Avery hanging on to third place at the moment. Jonathan Greensmith, there's Carl Rossin that they're going past. Carl Rossin. So through goes Avery, through goes Greensmith, and join us after the break for the resumption of this race.
Improve your summer. Buy a promotional can of Shaw for your chance to win a pair of VIP festival tickets every day.
At Virgin Media, when it comes to mobile, we do things our way. Like offering exclusive mobile deals to our TV and broadband customers on the UK's best value unlimited tariff, giving you unlimited calls, unlimited texts and unlimited data. You can get this brilliant tariff with the amazing new Samsung Galaxy S5 or any of our other great smartphones. And because we don't want you to worry about your new phone, insurance is included at no extra cost. So that's the UK's best value unlimited tariff with insurance included on a great range of smartphones from just £22 a month, exclusively for Virgin Media customers. That's how we do mobile. Call 0800 183 7000 or go online today.
Amina would ask you something, if she could. She'd ask you to save her life, but she's too exhausted. She'd look you in the eye. She'd ask again if she thought someone, somewhere, had the heart to help. If Amina could ask you, would you help? You can help. You can save children's lives by calling Save the Children today. To help a child survive, will you give just £2 a month? Please give your support today by calling 0800 048 0797. Please, help a child like Amina right now. We know what it takes to save a child's life. The solutions are simple, but we need your help. £2 can buy the food to keep a child alive. Amina can't ask you, but we can. Please, will you stop children dying? Call 0800 048 0797 and give £2 a month. Thank you.
If you suffer a serious injury, it may not only be you who suffers the consequences. At Irwin Mitchell, our personal injury solicitors know that when it comes to getting on with your life again, compensation is only part of the story. So we'll help you get the best possible medical care and rehabilitation, so you and your family can get the most out of life.
That's why I'm with Irwin Mitchell.
Call us now to see how we can help you.
Deposit £10 and I won't just double your money, I'll triple your money and then add some more. Spreading the jackpot joy.
Welcome back to Croft. Cracking battle going on between 93 Gary Lawrence chasing Steve Brown. The back-marking car of Carl Rossin is ahead of them. And also ahead of them, and we've got a 924 retiree in the crops, rather like a scene from Field of Dreams, the Kevin Costner film. That's Anthony Mekvinsky, who's out of the race. Steve Brown coming under pressure from Gary Lawrence in blue 93, looks up the inside. First part of Sunny. Brown's still got the line though, and they're going to head towards the complex now, and Brown in the 60 car still hangs on to it. Here comes Lawrence though, gets a wheel on the grass, and around comes the back of the car. Oh, that's such a shame. A good attacking drive. You can see the marshals in the background very well on the case, very quickly, with waved yellows to alert forthcoming drivers to the problems. Through goes Hugh Peart in the black 924. Gary Lawrence back on the gas very quickly, up into the chicane, manages to pop a lap back on Peart very quickly, and he's got to rejoin down, still in 6th position, so not too bad out of that. Meanwhile, his teammate Richard Avery coming under pressure from Jonathan Greensmith, out of Hawthorns, up into the chicane. Greensmith, I remind you, the championship leader on the back straight. This is the run towards Tower. And we saw Gary Lawrence having a go on the outside line here earlier on, and Greensmith, I don't think that's not a move. He just takes a wider line in. He'll be hoping to carry more momentum down towards Barcroft, maybe set up a manoeuvre. You can see different line to Avery, who's going a little bit defensive. Steve Brown goes through as well. Gives you an idea of how much ground Gary Lawrence has dropped in the Don Porter Country Properties car. But his teammate Richard Avery still holding on from Jonathan Greensmith. This is the battle for 3rd place. There they come. I think that's John Broadley in the blue 924 that's ahead of them, and John at the moment running 5th in class behind Andrew Hannington, so he's having a good run. Offline momentarily came Greensmith, having a look. First part of the complex into the second. The back markers make things complicated. They're having their own race as well, so they're entitled to their little bit of track. You'll see the blue flags, and up the inside comes Greensmith. Very well timed manoeuvre up the inside into the hairpin. And that was very fair racing between the pair of them. Avery was very quick into the hairpin, left the door open a little bit in the first part of the entry, but recovers well, comes out of that still with 3rd position intact. But here comes Greensmith again. It's almost a case of now you see me, now you don't, with the green and yellow barriers and green and yellow cars racing hard here. Let's see whether Greensmith, he puts the move on the inside. Hawthorns through on the inside. There was just the slightest of gap. You've only got to do that once, and Greensmith goes through. There is Richard Styron in car number 1 on his return to the championship, double champion. Leading this run, he's past David Jones in the red 924, who is 3rd in class behind Alistair Kirkham and Simon Hawksley. Briefly having a look at Adam Croft and Jason Flegg, who are running well. Well, Adam Croft is in 9th place, Jason Flegg the leading production boxer runner after the retirement of Steve Warburton on match 4. And this is Ed Hayes, North Yorkshire based driver, so this is home circuit, and chasing Richard Styron. Now, of course, what we don't know is whether Richard Styron can be tempted out in small races. I'm guessing this is just because the Leeds-based driver this is his nearest circuit and the deal was put together. I'm wondering if he's going to come out, or whether Ed Hayes is thinking if Richard doesn't do the rest, this is as good as a win, effectively 2nd place. He would have wanted to have beaten Richard Styron fair and square for sure. Through Clervaux into Hawthorns again. You can see the gap's not huge. Now remember that Ed Hayes is carrying ballast here, because we've got ballast in the championship now as well, so the leading cars are going to have that extra weight to carry, and that's going to affect the brakes, certainly affect the handling of the cars. And Richard Styron, he didn't race at round 1 at Silverstone. His car's got the luxury of not having that, so Ed Hayes has done a great job trying to rein him in this one. Ed, who set the pole position time at Silverstone by 0.03 of a second from Jonathan Greensmith. You can see he's clear of Greensmith in this one. We can expect the battle to develop between those two drivers as the season continues to develop. But Richard Styron on his way, fastest lap, 1 minute 36.366, for Richard Styron. Ed Hayes' best lap, 136.883. Jonathan Greensmith now up into third, 137.9. Richard Avery on 138.1. Gary Lawrence has done a 137 as well. So here is Ed Hayes, the ex-Caterham driver. I think, no doubt, enjoying his switch into the Toyo Tyres BRSCC Porsche Championship. Comes out of the hairpin, accelerates down the straight, past his team on the pit wall, and picks up the last lap signal here. So one more lap of Croft for our first of our two races here. And Ed Hayes looks like he's going to take second position behind the man who holds all the records, really, in the Porsche Championship, Richard Styron. So Styron onto the back straight and heading down towards Tower for the last time. Ed Hayes still in second position. No trouble at all for the reigning champion. Wonderful to see him back in the Taylor Foundries prepared car, and he's driven superbly. Of course, qualified to pole position and hasn't been troubled at all. Although, having said that, Ed Hayes seems to be closing up the gap down to less than a second last time around. There's Niz El Chamar who's running. Adam Croft goes through on the inside, and behind Adam, Jason Flegg, the leading and perhaps, well, indeed lone production boxster. But remember, no fluke, because he took the 2 wins and fastest laps in round 1 at Silverstone. So production boxsters running well as we go back to Richard Avery in green 6, coming under pressure from Steve Brown. The pair of them battling for 4th, but up front you can see Ed Hayes has closed the gap on Richard Styron. So I don't think it's close enough to mount a challenge. Styron into the hairpin for the last time, exits the hairpin and crosses the line to take another win to add to his collection in the Toyo Tyres Porsche Championship. Ed Hayes in second place. They've really enjoyed their race, and a real treat for the fans here at the North Yorkshire circuit to see Richard Styron back in the championship. Richard Avery takes 4th place. Up ahead of him in yellow you can see Jonathan Greensmith, who bags another podium just behind Ed Hayes. Jonathan and Ed, of course, the 2 drivers at the head of the championship. Gary Lawrence was in 3rd coming into this round. But this one all about Richard Styron for pole position. He's going to get the ballast in race 2. So we'll see whether he can repeat the performance in our second race here from Croft. But another win for Richard Styron. So here's the result. Richard Styron takes the win and fastest lap. Ed Hayes finishes second ahead of Jonathan Greensmith. Richard Avery in 4th place ahead of Steve Brown, with Gary Lawrence taking 6th position. Simon Hawksley wins the 924s. Alistair Kirkham kept him honest, and he takes 2nd position. 3rd goes to David Jones, and 3 wins out of 3 in 2014 in the production class for Jason Flegg.
Well, Simon, we spoke before the race. You only went and did it. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it was a tough race. It really kept me on the toes. Got off to a bit of a bad start, but yeah, seemed to pull it back in the end.
And you didn't lead from start to finish, I hate to say. Briefly you were overtaken, but you managed to get him back.
Yeah, I had a really bad start. It just didn't go quite right, but yeah, it pulled back okay.
Okay, and I mean, the rain held off. Obviously, I guess that helps, and I guess it helps you manage your tyres for later as well.
It does a little bit, but the tyres were a bit less in the rain, so I mean, you know, I'm quite happy racing in the rain as well.
Okay, man for all seasons. Thank you. What a race, especially for 3rd place. John, you got it in the end, but it was quite close for a while.
Yeah, it were close. We got a very good start at the beginning, but then I got knocked off on the first corner. I don't know where, but I think it was just a racing incident. And then I've just made hard work for myself to come from there near enough like 8th place or something like that. And then I got a feel towards the end when I knew they were going mistakes and everything else, like with cars going off and that. So I thought I'll pounce then, like, so yeah. But no chance of catching these 2 up quick as anything. But I did muck up in the qualifying, so I've only myself to blame.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were starting to show kind of brake fade and so on into the complex, and I guess you were capitalising on that.
Oh yeah, but I was getting brake fade and everything, so I would just try and hang it out as far as I could.
And I mean, there was a real train going on there for third place for a while, and you managed to pick your way to the front of it. Not easily done.
No, it's a quick circuit, you see, so everyone's late on the brakes as well, so it's even harder. So really, you've got to wait for the opportunity of like mistakes or just being a bit slow, but they weren't to be, so it made me hard work for me.
Well, Ed Hayes, you're the man he couldn't quite catch in second. You nearly did it. You were getting closer by the end.
I think Rick was probably looking after the gap a bit. It was changing every so often, but no, there's no way of reeling him in really.
And what happened at the start then? I mean, you just couldn't keep up off the line, I guess.
We were sort of neck and neck, and then Nicole inserted himself in between us, and I think I overtook him on the other side of the circuit on the first lap, probably. Yeah, and that was it.
Okay, and so for the second race, I mean, you're going to be pushing harder. Do you think that you can capitalise, that you can get in front next time?
I've no idea. I'd be very surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
Well, that's quite a compliment for you, Rick Starr, our winner. Congratulations, first of all. How was it for you?
Flipping hard work. Ed was driving very, very smooth, and I think he was managing the gap as well, looking after his car. He's an intelligent driver. And to be fair to these two, both are carrying success ballast. So I have the great pleasure now of having the first place success ballast. Ed keeps the same ballast he's got. I think I'm going to be in a bit of trouble in race 2.
Of course, being a multi-class championship, it does all start to get a bit more interesting when you come to lap the slower 94s. They're a real factor.
Yeah, I think sometimes Ed gained on the back markers, sometimes I gained and lost, and I think the net effects was very, very similar.
So what's your plan then for race 2? Manage the gap again, or do you think you can just drive off into the sunset?
Well, I'm kind of hoping that Ed gets a little bit tired and doesn't fancy it so much in race 2. That's my hope.
All right, well, the best of luck. Cheers.
Thank you.
We're all busy, but sometimes put off the important things, like helping to provide financial protection for your family if the worst should happen.
Welcome to Smart Insurance. You're speaking to Lisa. How may I help you?
Hi. Your advert for life insurance says I can arrange cover over the phone with no complicated forms.
Yes, that's right. Would you like a quick quote?
Please.
OK, as long as you're a UK resident, aged 18 to 64, you can apply for a benefit amount of £60,000 up to £750,000 to give you and your family peace of mind.
Great.
You won't need a medical or a blood test, just a few health and lifestyle questions to answer. I just need to get your age and smoker status.
I'm 32 and a non-smoker.
OK, if you choose a £100,000 benefit amount, it's £6.74 a month for the first year.
That costs less than I thought. And with £100,000, my wife could pay off the mortgage and a few other expenses.
The full benefit amount can be paid in advance if you're diagnosed as being terminally ill. And for greater peace of mind, you can add cover for your children or for critical illness.
Oh, that's good to know.
We'll send you a will kit with your policy. And as a thank you, you'll get back 10% of your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback.
Great. I'll go ahead.
With Smart Life Insurance, you can help protect your family's future. Call 0800 093 2881 or go to smartinsurance.co.uk.
Join us at Butlins for a May half-term break and your first child goes free. Book now at butlins.com or call 0800 222 555.
If you're finding it tricky to get a bank loan, you may be a bit worried about some of the other options. An Amiga loan is different. A good idea from the good old days. You could borrow up to £5,000 over 1 to 5 years with a guarantor, and we'll make sure your repayments are affordable with a representative 49.9% APR variable. Just come to amigaloans.co.uk.
Skechers Memory Foam is like a bed for your feet. Built-in memory foam insoles provide a gentle, comfortable cushion. Feel the difference with Skechers Memory Foam footwear.
Unlike some, National Accident Helpline has a no-win, no-fee, no-risk guarantee. Call 0800 556 557 or go to underdog.co.uk.
Motorsport is an all-weather affair, and on a day like this, when it's raining some of the time it's bright sunshine, setup is all important. Nick Hull, how do you prepare for a day like this? How late do you decide what to do with your setup?
Well, I think today was fairly easy for Dave and the guys at TF because it was raining. We knew it was guaranteed rain today, so they soften everything off, take the anti-roll bars off. Probably shouldn't say that on TV and give too much away, but soften everything off and off we go. So they're well prepared for it today.
And as a driver, how does it affect you going into a race? Obviously, the track can be so unpredictable, really, from one lap to the next, depending on what the weather's doing.
Yeah, in quali this morning, it was absolutely waterlogged. I don't think I've probably been on a track so wet in all the 10 years I've been racing. So it was horrendous. But as the quali went through, it just got better and better. It got drier, and a lot of the puddles got displaced, so it was good. But it changes, by the minute, so it's exciting.
And these tyres are pretty good in the wet, I think.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, the Toyos are fantastic. They work really well. You need a brand new set, more or less a scrubbed-in set for the wet, because they are limited groove-wise. So, but for me this morning, they work really well. So yeah.
And so for the rest of the day's racing, come on, I mean, what are you going to do? How late do you leave it before you go, or are you just going to assume it's going to be wet and put a wet setup on it and go like that?
Well, firstly, I'm hoping it is wet, because we had great qualifying this morning. I did really well, got probably my best position this year so far, so I want it to rain. These guys will be watching for down to the last 20 minutes before they make all the changes, then they'll jump on it and get it sorted, so yeah.
And how does your rain dance go? Is that what you do in the motorhome?
Yeah, I'm going to start praying to everyone that we get some rain for this afternoon, because I really enjoyed it this morning, and it was great fun in the wet. So yeah, it'd be nice for it to be wet again.
Well, then it looks like you at least might be in luck. Cheers, Nick.
Thank you very much.
Well, coming down to the third row of the grid, there's another one of the drivers who was involved in that pretty epic battle. Steve, how do you think you're going to do this afternoon? I guess you want to go better and get further up that train that was fighting for second and third.
Well, definitely, yeah. Obviously, I'd like to get on the podium. That's why we're all here. I was chuffed to get from 11th to 5th in that race. Had a really good first lap, and then, as you said, an epic battle. We went the wrong way with setup in qualifying. I think we definitely went the right way in dry. It looks like the conditions in this race are going to be very similar to the first race, so it's yeah, the only way's up, hopefully.
Yeah, it does look changeable, and you did manage to capitalise on those kind of changing conditions in the first race. How do you do that? Are you just driving to the feel of the car?
Yeah, I mean, we took a punt on a dry setup. Track was still dry, and as we came to the assembly area, it worked out for us. And it's just it's easy as looking for the wet patches and trying to avoid them. There still were some out there, and I'm sure there'll be some out there in the next race as well.
Yeah, I expect there will. Now, I mean, you're surrounded by cars that you have been dicing with already today. I mean, I guess there's a healthy respect between you drivers.
There's got to be. They're not cheap things, and the barriers are awfully close, and it's a very, very fast circuit. That said, we're going to be pushing. We're going to be pushing on today.
All right, well, the best of luck. Thank you. Well, the weather is all important in today's racing at Croft, and there are more big black clouds on the way. Let's go over to Richard for the grid for race 2.
Thanks, Will. Richard Styron on pole with Ed Hayes. Row 2, Jonathan Greensmith and Richard Avery. Row 3, Steve Brown, then Gary Lawrence, followed by Graham Hurd and Nick Hull in 8th place. 9th is Adam Croft, and 10th on the grid, Gary Goodwin. In the production box, there's Jason Flegg on pole, then it's Philip Grayson and Steve Warburton back for a second bite of the cherry. And then the 924, Simon Hawksley and Alistair Kirkham on the front of their grid. David Jones and Andrew Hannington next from John Broadley. Peter Smith on his outside. Then it's Carl Rossin and Nizar El Chamar. Hugh Peart and Anthony Mekvinsky, followed by Philip Waters. "20 minutes of Porsche action about to get underway, and it does. Richard Styron makes a great start. Ed Hayes on the outside, Jonathan Greensmith looking up the inside in the first of the yellow cars, then Richard Avery, Steve Brown in yellow on the inside. Styron down into Clervaux first, and Ed Hayes is on the outside line, and I think he's going to lose positions. Well, leading the 924s is Alistair Kirkham by a very, very frenetic start. Great driving standards at turn 1. Often in so many formulas you'll see loads of aggravation at Clervaux on turn 1, but these guys respect each other. They all want to go to work on Monday morning, take their cars home in one piece, down towards Tower for the first time. And it's Richard Styron leading, remember, with a ballast aboard the car. Then Jonathan Greensmith, Richard Avery, Ed Hayes in 4th. Then it's Gary Lawrence, followed by Steve Brown and Nick Hull. Gary Goodwin is in the mix, dicing hard as well. We've got Adam Croft there as well. Croft putting Nick Hull under a bit of pressure at the moment, but Richard Styron, how much of a lead is he going to be able to build up here with that ballast on board the car? There's Ed Hayes, second in race number 1, suddenly down in 4th. So all that work from race number 1, which earned him second place on the grid, finds him down in 4th place. There's Gary Lawrence up ahead of Steve Brown, then Nick Hull. Lots of water around the track. Hayes looks on the inside line coming out of the hairpin, and you can see Avery had the better line there, but Ed Hayes having a very good go, sticks to the outside line for the moment, now just follows the slipstream of the car in front. Down the straight, you can see Ed Hayes is having a go into Clervo, has a look, back on the racing line behind Richard Avery, but certainly mounting a challenge. That camera angle that we've got for you there, looking up the main straight from Clervo, it's a wonderful place to watch the racing here at Croft. There are so many great vantage points, and you know, wherever we race, I recommend that you come and spend a day out, because you can't beat a day actually at the racetrack. And Croft is a wonderful circuit because there are so many vantage points right the way around, and this part is sort of the far side of the lap, looking down from Barcroft into Sunny. Ed Hayes looking at the inside again and challenging for 3rd position off Richard Avery. So Avery holds sway. You can still see Richard Styron out front. Gary Lawrence needs to try and get on terms with this pair, but he's got Steve Brown behind him. Not under immediate pressure from Steve Brown at the moment in 60. So the lead pair getting away. If Richard Avery is looking in his mirrors, that may well just drop things back a bit from Jonathan Greensmith. And here goes Hayes down the inside again. Now has he done enough to hang on this time? He gets the manoeuvre completed. That was a great piece of driving from Ed Hayes. Textbook pass into the hairpin. He had that T round the outside, which meant the inside for the hairpin itself, and he managed to get the power down in front. Richard Avery responded in a completely fair way as well. He's down to 4th position, but Ed Hayes up into 3rd. Gary Lawrence and Steve Brown still giving chase, so Lawrence and his teammate together again as they were at Silverstone. That's a great scrap all the way through the Silverstone meeting. As newcomers to the championship, I'm sure they'll be very quick to sing the praises of this Toyo Tyres BRSCC Porsche Championship, which seems to go from strength to strength. Flash of yellow, 2nd position going through is Jonathan Greensmith. Ed Hayes goes through as well. At the moment, positions reversed from where they finished in race number 1. It's going to be, if we were to look at the championship positions after round 1 at Silverstone, cat and mouse between those two. As a reminder of the other classes, Jason Flegg leading the productions from Michael Goodacre and Bernie Printy after Silverstone. Goodacre and Printy not here. 924's led by Simon Hawksley from Carl Rossin, but focused at the moment on Gary Lawrence, coming under pressure from Steve Brown just a little bit here. Brown not close enough to effect the manoeuvre, and a little bit tail happy coming out of hairpin, which loses a bit of ground on Lawrence as they cross the line again. The race lead is down at Clervo. Through goes Greensmith. There is Ed Hayes, who's trying to close in. Well, conditions slightly better. We've got slightly more drying track here. When are we going to get improvements on the lap records? Oh, 3 lap records, in fact, set in race number 1. Richard Styron in Class A, Jason Flegg in Class B, and Simon Hawksley in the 924s. Now, of course, one wonders whether Richard Styron will be able to get a faster lap with the ballast, but conditions are slightly better. And at the moment, the indications are he might be able to improve on it. Certainly building a lead over Jonathan Greensmith. There is Ed Hayes in 3rd position. Richard Avery 4th. Then Gary Lawrence, Steve Brown, Nick Hull in the Union Jack car. He's clear at the moment. Then it's Adam Croft going through. So Adam Croft goes through the shot, followed by Graham Hurd, the former champion. Took a podium at Silverstone on his return. Very impressive return to the championship at Silverstone for the ex-champion. Good to see him back in the Formula, the Kent-based driver. He's putting Adam under a bit of pressure at the moment, so Crofty doing all he can to try and reel in Nick Hull. It's Gary Goodwin behind them in the 46 car. 7th and 6th positions for Gary at Silverstone. 11th place in race number 1 here at Croft. And Graham Hurd, look at the wide line there, and that doesn't do him any favours at all. And Gary Goodwin's going to nip through on the inside of Graham Hurd. So Goodwin makes up the position. Here is Nick Hull. There is Adam Croft. Gary Goodwin, and Graham Hurd's got a bit of work to do now once he's got rid of all the muck that his tyres would have picked up. Gary Goodwin comes from Gerrard's Cross. Bought the Boxster in 2010, a shared project between himself and his dad, driving it on track days originally and then converting it to racing. It's one of the ways you can come into motorsport, and particularly this championship. You can have a car prepared by a team, or you can prepare the car yourself. Either way, you'll be welcomed with open arms into this very spectacular and entertaining championship. It's like Adam Croft is beginning to catch up. Certainly Graham Hurd is catching up with Gary Goodwin. Meanwhile, Steve Brown is trying to reel in Gary Lawrence in the 93, and it's a three-way scrap at the moment for 4th position. There's the 2nd place car, Jonathan Greensmith. Car number 9, the vehicle technician from Hillsborough. Double winner at Silverstone, 2 fastest laps as well, so it was a particularly dominant performance for him there. And he's up on the podium here again at Croft, but is he going to be able to overcome the talent of Richard Starrid? Join us after the break to find out.
How Sif helped Sleeping Beauty shine. Sleeping Beauty was rudely awakened. Her prince was arriving. Things were looking good, but the floor less so. She summoned new Sif Express floor cleaner. Applied directly from the bottle, the dirt disappeared quickly and the beauty returned. New Sif Express, always a beautiful ending, quickly.
Farmers tried many ways to combine olive oil with rich, creamy butter until they discovered New Bertolli with butter, a delicious blend with butter and olive oil. So tasty, they fell in love with it. New Bertolli with butter, a delicious blend with butter and olive oil.
You said using cash machines is difficult when you're visually impaired. We've introduced over 4,000 talking cash machines across the UK.
My name is Chris McCausland. I'm a stand-up comedian and I'm also blind. And I'm here to tell you about these, Barclays' new talking cash machines. They're the ones with the headphone socket. Obviously, it doesn't just blurt out, enter pin 4, 2, 8, 7. Just a shifty bloke behind you with a hammer and a biro, just writing your pin number on his hammer. Forgotten his pad, hasn't he? With the new talking cash machine, it's so much easier.
When Daddy had an accident, he was hurt a lot. It's not been easy for Mummy, but we've been getting help. Now Daddy's more like my daddy, and I'm his little princess again.
At Irwin Mitchell Solicitors, we've secured over £1 billion in the last 2 years to help injured people get their lives back on track.
That's why I'm with Irwin Mitchell.
Because compensation is only part of the story. Call us now.
Ted, when he came in, was in generally pretty good condition. His big problem were his teeth. He had quite a large amount of tartar on his back teeth.
Bad teeth are fairly common, not just in rescue dogs. So after the vet had cleaned his teeth, we started him on Dentastix once a day, and his teeth are nice and clean.
And now try Dentastix Fresh. It reduces tartar buildup and also contains a unique blend of ingredients to help freshen breath.
New from Carplan, Demon Foam Snow Foam Car Shampoo. Simply connect to a hosepipe and spray on the dense Demon Foam with a sweet cherry fragrance. Rinse off as normal. It really is that easy. And for that just wax look, use Demon Shine Spray Gun Shine. There's no hard rubbing, polishing or anything. Shh. Only you and the Demon will know the truth. Demon Foam and Demon Shine from Carplan. Just spray on for a wicked shine.
Presenting the Skechers Go Walk 2 with a lightweight and comfortable Resolite sole. They're a walker's second best friend.
Welcome back to Croft. You're looking at the second place driver, Jonathan Greensmith, still trying to hunt down Richard Styron, who's got the fastest lap. That was back on lap 2. Ed Hayes is in third position, the light blue and black car. And here's the run out of Barcroft down into Sunny. Hayes is actually the quicker of the 3 drivers at this stage of the race. He's just posted a 1:36 as well, 1:36.4. Styron's best 1:36.3. which improves on his lap record from race 1. Jonathan Greensmith 1:37.0 thus far. So Hayes closing in on Greensmith. Whether this is going to develop or not. Here's Anthony Mekvinsky, who not finished in race 1. Had some brake problems by the look of it, coming into the complex. I'm guessing he'll be able to rejoin or certainly make it round into the pits if he needs to from there. Meanwhile, Richard Avery from Gary Lawrence and Steve Brown. You can see Mekvinsky rejoining, so came back on when it was safe to do so. Steve Brown still putting the pressure on Lawrence, who in turn is hassling his teammate out front at the moment. Out down the straight we come again. Lawrence gets a very quick exit and across the line. He has a little look down the inside, comes off line, looks to the inside at Clervaux. Then he'll see Steve Brown taking a very wide line, the proper correct racing line into Clervaux, which might give him more momentum into Hawthorns, maybe into the chicane as well. And we've got the run up the back straight, so Brown carrying that momentum there in the 60 car, keeps it tight to the inside line, so too does Gary Lawrence, who goes defensive. Now we pick up the cars through Barcroft. Richard Avery still there. Gary Lawrence in 5th position, Steve Brown in 6th. These 3 have been tied together pretty much all race, one way or another. It's ebbed and flowed a little bit, but superb racing from this trio. And Richard Avery, who was joint 4th with Graham Hurd coming into the round, and he's going to be, I think, a little bit higher come the end of racing today. Steve Brown still chasing Gary Lawrence, but it's Richard Styron still up front. But we continue to watch this trio enjoying their racing. Out of the hairpin we go again. Avery a little bit further ahead this time of Lawrence, so is there a gap now starting to develop? Steve Brown hammers it, he's going to look down the inside. Is there room there? And he squeezes through. Brown through on the inside. What a great manoeuvre. He got the momentum out of the hairpin. There was half a gap and he went through. And I've got to take my hat off to Gary Lawrence, because a lesser driver would have had Brown on the grass there. Nick Hull in car number 7. And then Graham Hurd, who's done well to pass Adam Croft. Got ahead of Gary Goodwin after his moment on the dirt. Anthony Mekvinsky goes through in red. Hugh Peart in the black 924 as well, 9th and 10th respectively. Graham Hurd challenging for 7th position. So Nick Hull, who had that demon start in race number 1, still enjoying his racing. So too is Richard Styron, remember, with the extra ballast on board. So back markers in the 924s, of course, having their race. Alistair Kirkham, Philip Waters and Andrew Hannington, the leading trio at the moment in the 924s. Jonathan Greensmith still in 2nd place. The blue 924 of John Broadley they were coming up to. There's Philip Waters in 3rd place. Good to see Philip Waters running well. 55 is Andrew Hannington. He's running 2nd. Alistair Kirkham leading this class at the moment. Philip Waters. Oh, and off goes Steve Brown. So Steve Brown, who was challenging for 4th place, that's an off for him. Some rear end damage. He is out of the car safe and well. And that's the good part, but the bad part is that the car is damaged. As we look at the scrap for the race leaders in the 924s, I'm wondering whether that's going to necessitate a safety car. We're into the closing stages of the race. We've got heavily waved yellows there. As we saw, Steve Brown is out safe and well. Philip Waters in 15. As I was arriving for day 2 at Silverstone, he was on his way out with the car on the trailer on his way home, and there's the safety car. Well, sadly, time is running out, because these Porsche races, the Toyo Tyres BRSCC Porsche Championship races, are timed races rather than a set number of laps. Now that guarantees a certain amount of track time for all of the drivers, but as is the case now where we have the safety car, it means that the clock is going to run down and we're going to have the checkered flag under the safety car. I suspect we'll see a last lap board. There it is. So the drivers go onto their lane. That is going to mean that Richard Styron will take the win from Jonathan Greensmith. So this effectively becomes a victory lap for the drivers, a slowing down lap behind the safety car here at Croft, and perhaps gives us an opportunity to talk about the championship positions, because it's Richard Styron from Jonathan Greensmith and Ed Hayes. Jonathan Greensmith, therefore, the yellow number 9 car, will retain the championship lead by 6 points by my reckoning from Ed Hayes. Richard Avery will move into 3rd place from joint 4th. Gary Lawrence will be in 4th position. There's Richard Avery, the green and white livery car, running in 4th position here. Gary Lawrence will be 4th from Graham Hurd, with Nick Hull in 6th position. The productions are led by Jason Flegg, and he will continue to lead the table, exiting Croft from Michael Goodacre and Bernie Printy. The 924s, this race being led by Alistair Kirkham from Philip Waters and Andrew Hannington. So Simon Hawksley, who's 4th in class when the safety car was deployed, will retain the championship lead, but joint 2nd will be Nizar El Chama and Carl Rossin, with David Jones in 4th position. So a shame that we have to end under the safety car here at Croft, but the drivers are going to be looking forward to their European away day, the next round. Last year, you might remember some superb action from Zandvoort, and we stay with the letter Z. They're going to Zolder in Belgium this year, which is going to be a superb round. But Richard Styron has done it here with 2 wins out of 2 on his return to the championship. 2 fastest laps as well. Fastest lap in the productions goes to Jason Flegg, who has made a great start to his campaign. But at the end of our safety car period here, the safety car brought about due to the incident with Steve Brown, who crashed on lap 8 of the race. He was okay, but the car really on a point of the circuit that needed to be recovered. So the checkered flag has gone out, with Richard Styron making it 2 out of 2. And we congratulate Jason Flegg as well, plus Alistair Kirkham, who wins in the 924s here at Croft to conclude our 2nd racing event of the season. So win and fastest lap from pole position for Richard Styron, making it a double this weekend. Jonathan Greensmith 2nd, with Ed Hayes completing the podium. Richard Avery is 4th ahead of Gary Lawrence, and Nick Hull in 6th place. The 924s won by Alistair Kirkham from Philip Waters, Andrew Hannington completing the 924 podium, and 2 finishers in the productions. Jason Flegg taking another victory, this time ahead of Philip Grayson.
Well, an eventful race with rather an unusual end. Ed Hayes 3rd in the end. What an unusual race.
It was. Steve went off into the wall by the looks of it on the, what do you call it? S's.
Sunny, yeah. So sunny,
quite a bad rear end shunt, but he was prattling around on the in the field, so I guess he's all right.
Well, it's always a good sign. But in terms of your race, talk us through it from the beginning.
Not the best start. Jonathan got me, and Richard Avery as well. Got stuck behind Richard for 3 or 4 laps maybe.
But you did get by.
Got by eventually, and then tried to catch Jonathan. Nearly got there. Went through some back markers, got separated again, and then it was safety car time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess behind the safety car, you're probably hoping that it would come in at some point.
Just a last dash would have been good. But
yeah. Oh, well, congratulations anyway. Well, John Greensmith, well done. 2nd place. You managed to hold him off behind that safety car.
Only just. It was catching quite quick, actually. Yeah.
No, but what a good race. And, you know, you had Rick in your sights very much, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think I was slightly reeling him in, but whether we were just sandbagging or not, I don't know. So we'll never know. He'll say he'll be pushing, but I don't know.
Yeah, if there'd been that extra 5 minutes, you'd have got him, of course.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, well, congratulations. And Rick, another masterful drive. Congratulations.
Yeah, these two have kept me incredibly honest today. They're the future of this series, and what they've done with the ballast has just made it perfect. Jonathan's not enjoyed carrying the passenger I've now got, and Ed's had a passenger pretty much all the time, haven't you? So really enjoyable that.
Yeah, and the success ballast really is a great equaliser.
Yeah, you have to look at, I think both these are doing the same, you have to look after both your tyres and your brake, and then you take as much out of them as you dare when there's a big yellow thing charging at you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you managed to avoid the incidents early on and just pull away, really.
Yeah, I think the key there's a little bit of damp patches on the start, and it was key just to not use too many revs, and I think all three of us nearly nailed it, did we?
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, the first few corners, I guess, with it being so damp, you know, and the tyres perhaps not as warm yet, I guess you still have to take it relatively easy watching your mirrors.
Yeah, I was very conscious myself, so I thought I could charge in and overshoot it. Then I thought if I go too slow, I'll get a little bit of extra help. So it was getting the right balance.
All right, well, congratulations. What a funny way to end the race, though.
Yeah, I think it was the right call because it's a very quick bend and Steve's car was in a dangerous position, so I understand that.
Well, we understand he's all right. So thank you very much anyway. Cheers. An unusual weekend all round. A double win for a double champion, even though he's retired. Although perhaps the real winner was that safety car driver. The next stop for this championship is Zolder in Belgium.
Improve your summer. Buy a promotional can of Shaw for your chance to win a pair of VIP festival tickets every day.
We're all busy, but sometimes put off the important things, like helping to provide financial protection for your family if the worst should happen.
Welcome to Smart Insurance. You're speaking to Lisa. How may I help you?
Hi. Your advert for life insurance says I can arrange cover over the phone with no complicated forms.
Yes, that's right. Would you like a quick quote?
Please.
OK, as long as you're a UK resident, aged 18 to 64, you can apply for a benefit amount of £60,000 up to £750,000 to give you and your family peace of mind.
Great.
You won't need a medical or a blood test, just a few health and lifestyle questions to answer. I just need to get your age and smoker status.
I'm 32 and a non-smoker.
OK, if you choose £100,000 benefit amount, it's £6.74 a month for the first year.
That costs less than I thought. And with £100,000, my wife could pay off the mortgage and a few other expenses.
The full benefit amount can be paid in advance if you're diagnosed as being terminally ill. And for greater peace of mind, you can add cover for your children or for critical illness.
Oh, that's good to know.
We'll send you a will kit with your policy. And as a thank you, you'll get back 10% of your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback.
Great. I'll go ahead.
With Smart Life Insurance, you can help protect your family's future. Call 0800 093 2881 or go to smartinsurance.co.uk.
Join us at Butlins for a May half-term break and your first child goes free. Book now at butlins.com or call 0800 222 555.
Presenting the Skechers Go Walk 2 with a lightweight and comfortable Resolite sole. They're a walker's second best friend.
Bad dog. Bad home. Bad health. Bad food. Good food. Good health. Good home. Good dog. For rescue dogs, the right nutrition is the first step to a brighter future.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series season continues on Motors TV with round 11 from Charlotte. The drivers are bidding to succeed 2013 champion Austin Dillon, and Chase Elliott has started strongly. We're live from Charlotte, Saturday, May the 24th at 7:30 in the evening on the High Speed Television channel.
Welcome to Mobile One The Grid. On this week's show, we preview the greatest spectacle in racing and meet the drivers knocking on the door of Formula One. All roads lead to Indianapolis now in a look ahead to IndyCar's most famous race.
You can't even describe how big the Indy 500 is.
It is the biggest single sport event in the world. It's the heritage, it's the tradition. It reads like a who's who of racing of every kind of category.
Billed as the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500 is one of the most prestigious motorsport events in the world. With attendances of 300,000 plus and a history dating back over 100 years, it's the race everyone wants to win.
The Indy 500 it's so big for two reasons. And if you haven't seen it, you just got to go see it in person. Because I mean, I watched it as a race fan for years, but I never got it until I actually went there.
It's almost like a holiday, you know. It's the Indy 500 weekend, and I remember watching it every year with my parents, and the history that's there. I mean, that can make or break your career, that race.
We're talking about a race that, coming up in another 2 years will be the 100th race. That's pretty hard to match. You know, it's a very special event that basically transcends the sport.
IndyCar's 500-mile jewel in the crown attracts drivers from all over the world as well as from different race series.
The same sort of reason the Indy 500 is big, the Daytona 24 Hours race is big. You know, it reads like a who's who of racing of every kind of category. And so to be able to go there and compete with those guys, and it's well before most other seasons start, so everybody's kind of available to do it, and it's great. So yeah, we take the opportunity to drive anything we can, anytime we can.
This year's contenders will line up on the grid knowing that success in this one race is rated as highly as winning the overall IndyCar Championship.
We set 2 goals each year, and you know, because the Indy 500 comes first, you know, that's our main aim is to win that race, and then we go on to try and win the championship. But yeah, there's nothing like that race. Even being a spectator, 350,000 plus people.
There are probably millions of race fans around the world that don't see us race a championship, but they see us race an Indy 500. We're trying to change that. But the Indy 500, that's the one race to win, and debatable whether it means more than an IndyCar championship. Probably as a legacy and down the road it does. It's probably harder to win a championship, but 500 probably means more than anything else.
With the retirement of Dario Franchitti, only Helio Castroneves of the current field can claim the 4-win mark of Al Unser, AJ Foyt and Rick Mears. Most drivers, however, would be happy to win just once.
The 3 weeks that you're at the circuit, the ceremonies and stuff that you go through, so it's a really touching place. And when you go there and you haven't won the race, you think, oh, we're a great team. We've done fairly well at other tracks. Maybe you'll be, one that never gets to achieve it.
Nobody knows that feeling better than Takuma Sato, who in 2012 came within a lap of becoming the first Japanese driver to add his name to the Borg-Warner Trophy.
Sato taking a peek. Inside. Keep going.
The speed and the fans' excitement. And after 500 miles, I did 499. Good. I just did 1 more mile.
Should have waited till coming out of 2. We talked about that. We talked about his patience.
For reigning champion Tony Kanaan and the rest of the 2014 grid, 500 fever has already taken hold as they prepare to take another shot at racing immortality.
The first one is very special, but the feeling that you get from that and what you achieve to be on a short list of 68 people, it's pretty exciting and drives you to want to win that race again.
Winning Indy 500s. That's the ultimate goal. If I could win 3 Indy 500s and never have a championship, I'd probably take it. But I think that I have a strong legacy to live up to in my family, and I want to make my family
I got Lucky.
I got a hunting dog named Lucky. He's got one eye and no nut.